Should be live. Again, not going live for too long. Again, I'm assuming a lot of you guys are going to be Christmas with the families, maybe opening up some gifts. If you guys are sickos, have some questions in here, feel free to leave them down below. We'll be going until about 1:55. Also, we'll go through a couple of the site questions. So again, if you guys do have some questions, feel free to leave them in the YouTube chat. I will also share my screen, and you guys should be able to see it in a second. Boom. All right, so we got a couple questions over on the site. Let me just filter out the team reviews and go straight to the trade and lineup questions. Boom. First one from Swelly Gus. Also tried to pick up Benson and Carter in case Connor is made it to the chip go. Yeah, appreciate that. And yeah, I mean, congrats on making it to the chip. I think that's a really smart strategy. Again, James Conner, if he does play, obviously a guy that you want to be putting in your lineup. And of course, if he doesn't play, whether it's Trey Benson's going to be out again. He did miss week 16 with that ankle injury. If Trey Benson's expected back and Connor would be out, he would be my preferred option between him and Michael Carter. And of course, if both Connor and Benson are out, Michael Carter would be a solid, top 24-ish level play. And we also got a couple comments here. Merry Christmas. Yeah, Merry Christmas, Ryland. Merry Christmas, Steven. Appreciate that. Evan also says have to decide Njoku. Hurt might not play versus Andrews today, full PPR. It sounds like Njoku's going to play. I mean, he did play in week 16, was able to produce, I believe, 8 catches, 66 yards in that game. I have no issues with projecting Njoku to be fully ready to go. Again, he was questionable, did miss practice last week, was able to come back to a big stat line. So I have David Njoku ranked as a top 5 tight end for me this week. But in terms of Swelly Gus, that is exactly how I'd play it, to be honest. Does not look like Walker's going to be playing this week. Hasn't practiced. I believe he was listed as questionable. But again, when you're not practicing and Charbonnet's returning to practice, that is a concern for his status. So, yeah, I would play it the way it is. Again, if it's out of only these options, I actually believe I have Amir Abdullah the highest. But of course, if you do have the option of picking up Benson or Carter in case Connor goes down, that is the way I would play it. And let me just take a look. Maybe there's a flex option here I like more than Odunze. No, that's more than likely how I would be playing it. So again, good luck in the championship there, Gus. We will go to the next question. Hell yeah, boys, we made it. One more for the chip. Let's go, Peanut Gallery. Let's go. Quarterback here yet, Joe Burrow. Perfectly fine there. You could start a second quarterback. Interesting here. I do like my boy Cooper Rush, but going up against Philadelphia, the answer is pretty clearly going to be Tua Tagovailoa. Again, a dynasty 2-quarterback, 12-team start 11 league here. We got Devon Achane set in as that RB1. Agreed. RB2 here. So obviously we don't know the status of Connor, but like I was mentioning earlier, if Connor plays, you play James Conner. If Connor doesn't play, you do have Trey Benson listed on your bench here as that extra option. So that's how I'd play it. Again, I really do like Jerome Ford. Maybe he works into the flexes here considering there's 3 of them, but we'll be talking about that in a second. But T. Higgins is going to be making the lineup. Jacoby Myers would also be another option here. Jalen Waddle will be the next man out. And then when we go to the flex spots and tight ends, tight end, I would go with TJ Hawkinson. Flex spots like we're looking for, Jerome Ford's going to be in there. Jalen Waddle is going to be in there. And then the final flex spot would be an interesting option. We do have a comment, for example, from Rylan in chat. Any news on Garendo? I need him to play. If Garendo does not play, Patrick Taylor obviously becomes a top 25-ish level running back option. If Garendo does play, which is what I'm ranking it as of right now, I do have Garendo ranked as my RB20 this week. It does sound like he will play, so I will be making this lineup decision as if Garendo is going to play. So with that being said, if assuming Garendo plays here, we're looking at some of these options. Jalen Coker's interesting, but we did see the receiving usage go down. However, it is a good matchup. Ooh, this is a tough one. Again, Garendo out, you play Patrick Taylor. If Garendo is playing in this game, I would be going with Jalen Coker for the bread this week. So good luck there, Peanut Gallery. Appreciate the question. Again, let me just make sure I'm not missing anybody obvious in the flex, but judging from the looks of it, Coker would be my final flex here. We got a next question here from Lulu. Full PPR Superflex League. Devon Achane obviously making your lineup. And then I'm just going to go down here. Chase Brown is also going to make your lineup. I don't even have to see the other options to know those 2 are going to be my top ones there. You have Derrick Henry in here. I mean, we'll see the wide receivers in a second. Devontae Adams going to make it. This is really close on my wide receiver spot. Let me take a look exactly how I have these guys ranked, because they are all really close. I do have Devontae Adams at 10, so he's my number 1 of the group that you have here. But Keenan, Ladd, Cortland Sutton, Myers are all within about 8 rankings for me this week. So let me take a look. I do have Ladd at 15, Sutton at 17, Keenan at 18. And who was the other option here? Jacoby Myers I have at 28, but 28 is like, honestly, it feels low, but that's just how many good wide receiver projections there are this week. I do feel like once you get to like 13 on to like even 28, 29, really, really close discussion on wide receiver. I have Jameson Williams at 29, and I actually do like his projection this week. But ultimately, Ladd would be my highest option here. At tight end, I would go with Pat Freiermuth. I don't want to see Kyle Pitts anymore. Fuck that guy. And then in a full PPR, again, you can argue, well, you can't really argue Chase Brown, but you can argue Derrick Henry versus some of those wide receivers. But I mean, it's the king. He's got a high yardage line. They're going to be in a good game script, 26 implied points. I'm known as the Derrick Henry hater, but for this question in particular, I think you do have to play him in the championship week, especially knowing that he got you here. So we'll go to the final question here from Blissy. Who do I start at tight end, and do I play Cup? So if we're looking here, James Cook obviously making your lineup. In terms of the tight end, let me see who I have higher between them. I believe it should be Freiermuth, but let me take a look. So Pat Freiermuth I have at 14. Kincaid I have at 17. So I would go with Pat Freiermuth here. And then in terms of the flex option, I think you got to play Cooper Kupp. I understand he's killed you. I understand Kareem Hunt's been getting some good work there. However, with Hunt, it is a tougher matchup. And with Cooper Kupp, man, it is an easier matchup on the surface level. Again, I understand he's been disappointing these last 2 weeks, but as we've seen, when Matthew Stafford has been the one struggling, Puka's been able to eat. Cooper Kupp's kind of been, left behind. I think that this offense is going to get right back on track this week against Arizona. So therefore, I will go with Cooper Kupp again. Does feel gross. He hasn't been good, but I do end up having him, I believe, as my wide receiver 25 this week. So again, appreciate you guys over on the site. Let me just refresh to see if anybody came in. Nope. So we can go to some of the questions over here in the YouTube chat. Mo says, Merry Christmas, Big Mo. Well, let's go, Toronto Dave. Let's go, brother. Merry Christmas. Do I go with Neighbors or Pickens? I have Malik Neighbors higher this week. Tougher matchup from Pickens coming off that hamstring injury. Again, it does sound like he is fully healthy, because otherwise they wouldn't have rushed him back for a Wednesday game. But with that being said, Neighbors a lot easier for matchup. Neighbors, you got that volume tether. The quarterback situation is going to be a concern, but I think the matchup is a bigger concern for Pickens. None of those points are populating. What's going on? What do you mean? What do you mean, Corey? None of the points populating. Curious. I thought Njoku got hurt at the end. It sounds like he's ready to go. Again, I can double check it, but I didn't see any reports as to him being in risk of missing the game. He's dealing with the knee injury, but I didn't see anything in regards to him missing. Who is your other option there in case? Like, can you wait on it? You have Andrews. Okay. I personally would wait on Njoku. I think he's a big enough advantage, whereas Andrews, again, he has had touchdown equity, which is nice, but he has been getting inconsistent receiving usage. I would almost rather, if I do lose Njoku here, end up replacing him with another option. My apologies. I thought he re-aggravated the hamstring injury. I do see now that there was a little bit of a knee issue there. So, like, honestly, too, can you wait and pick up maybe Hunter Henry might not be available, but like Henry, Schultz, Chigakonkwo, like there's a lot of insulation options that I would play in case Njoku misses, rather than just playing Andrews today, because I do think Njoku's worth waiting on. Also, we got all game here, just fucking, yeah, no, none of that. Chigger, Schultz, PPR, I'm torn. I have Chigakonkwo at 11, and I have Dalton Schultz at 12. I have Chig slightly higher, but if you want to go with Schultz, I don't mind it. Like, they are literally 11 and 12 for me. I think it's really a personal preference, but I would go Chig. Mayfield or Herbert and Freiermuth or Kraft, full PPR, thanks. I believe I have Baker Mayfield at quarterback 6 this week. So he would be my option. Yeah, I have Baker Mayfield at quarterback 6. And in terms of Freiermuth versus Kraft, I have Kraft higher. So I would go Tucker Kraft there. No, you're right, Evan. My apologies. I thought he re-aggravated the hamstring. You're right. Charby or Mixon. I have Mixon 2 spots higher. Again, it does look like that Kenneth Walker is going to be out for tomorrow's game. So I did move Charbonnet up to RB16. However, I think you still got to go with the workload of Joe Mixon. I understand it hasn't been efficient. It hasn't looked good. But at the same time, we know he has big-time touchdown equity in that offense. And there's a potential opportunity for them to bounce back in a high-scoring game environment. Stroud or gamble on Young. I have Stroud a couple spots higher, but they're both, back-end quarterback 2-level options for me. Merry Christmas. Merry Christmas, Cheeky. Merry Christmas. Shout out, Cheeky. Need to pick 2 running backs, Breece Hall, Aaron Jones, and Chuba Hubbard. For me, Aaron Jones would be the guy that I'd leave on the bench here. I would go with Breece Hall and Chuba Hubbard for the bread. Any news on Garendo? I need him to play. It does. The latest reports I've been seeing does sound like he will be playing in this game. Ethan, I ended up acknowledging it now. That is very true. That's something I thought it was a re-aggravated hamstring. I didn't realize it was actually a new knee. So I'm gonna have to take a look at that in terms of my rankings where I want to end up with him. But he's just an option where if he's going to be playing, you make sure you have a pivot option like a Chig, like a Schultz, Schultz is playing today, but like a Chig, like a Freiermuth also plays today, like a Chig, like a Hunter Henry, like a let me go through like back on tight end 2s, maybe like a Stone Smart would be worst case scenario. Unless Will Dissly plays, that would be the thing. So Smart or Dissly, depending on who plays. Jawan Johnson, like guys like that. I would be comfortable waiting on Njoku is basically what I'm trying to imply, because he's that much of an advantage when he plays. Whereas hell, since he's the Monday night game, yeah, I mean, you pick up the pivot option. If you hear bad reports on Sunday, then you make a pivot. That's how I would play it. It is a tough situation, though. I can't lie. I mean, no. Cleveland's on Sunday 4:05. You're referring to the Lions 49ers. Got you. You're talking about Garendo. Sorry, I'm in Christmas brain right now. My apologies, guys. Burrow, running back 1 and 2. Gibbs, Jacobs, receiver, Puka Higgins, Kelsey, flex. You got Connor, London, and Jennings as your flex option. Stuck on who to start at flex, but lock in the rest of the lineup. So obviously there's the news with Connor. We don't know exactly if he's going to be playing. I would just be playing whoever plays between Connor and London. If Connor plays, I'd be playing Connor. Is Connor on Saturday though? Right? Yeah, Connor is on Saturday, so you're going to be able to know that, right? Let me just take a look. Connor. Saturday, 8:15. So you're going to be knowing that. Okay. So I would play Connor, and if he does not play, I would be playing London. Merry Christmas, chat. Merry Christmas, Mars. Wouldn't have anyone available to replace him. Is there no Patrick Taylor or someone like that available? Maybe like a Ricky Petersall. I know it's gross. It sounds like Garendo's going to be playing. It's basically where I'm at with it. But if you are worried, I don't mind playing a slightly inferior option if you don't have a pivot. Brock Purdy or Pat Mahomes, I believe I have Purdy a couple spots higher. Yeah, I do have Purdy a couple spots higher. Got Mason here. Good luck this week, my guy. Good luck to you as well. We are cheering for the biggest of big Nico Collins games. If you guys are unfamiliar, Mason in the BBM final, myself, Corey Spicy Hot, also in the BBM final. Both of us got Nico Collins. Let's hope for a big bang out today. We're talking a 40-36 Ravens versus Texans game. We got Lamar, we got Likely, we got Bateman, Mason's got Flowers, both got Nico. We're hoping for some fucking fireworks today. Let's get it. Pick 2 PPR, Warren, Reed, McMillan, and Mooney. Believe my highest 2 there would actually be McMillan and Mooney there, our gravy. Merry Christmas. Merry Christmas to you as well. Merry Christmas. Enjoy the time with the family, brother. Will Kamara play? It does not sound like he's going to at this point, and they really have no incentive to rush him back. I would be going about it that Kendre Miller is going to be the RB1 there this week. Cup, have Puka, Garrett Wilson, opponent has Adams, Neighbors, or Dubs PPR. I have Malik Neighbors, the highest of these guys this week, RQ. Danny, can you push me over the top? I'm playing Ridley over Cup. I saw you put Ridley higher, but Bush has him lower, and I'm torn. So let me see exactly where I have them in respect to each other. I have Calvin Ridley at 20. I have Cooper Kupp at 24. Honestly, both have been getting a ton of usage. Cooper Kupp obviously has been disappointing. There is also a factor. I mean, the Jacksonville Jaguars are a top 3 matchup for wide receivers this year. You do have a little bit of a revenge game narrative, and you do have a little bit less volatility in terms of the quarterback position with Rudolph starting instead of Levis. So I get it. Ridley's a knucklehead. If Cooper Kupp was playing like he was a few weeks ago, it wouldn't even be a conversation. But with Cooper Kupp dropping back-to-back eggs, I can't do it over Ridley. I understand Ridley's volatile in his own right, but I love the matchup this week. That's where I'm at with it. Again, if you want to play Cup because he's gotten you here, I don't blame you. But for me, I would personally go Ridley this week. Mike, Hollywood Brown or Romeo Dubs starting Love and Reed. So Hollywood Brown is the most interesting name this week because on one hand, he only played 27% of the snaps. But on the other hand, on those 27% of the snaps, he had 8 targets. Now, it's tricky. I think I would go Dubs here because he does have a pass funnel matchup going up against Minnesota this week. Potentially no Christian Watson. He's a safer play. And at this point in the week 17 cycle, championship cycle, I think that's where I got to go. But yeah, that's where I'm at there. That is close. And you have Love and Reed. You may as well just invest into that game, especially knowing Hollywood Brown's snap count is a little bit volatile right now. Also, let's get this all football, whatever, HD. Yeah, no, none of that. By the way, none of you guys click those links from the spam bots if you can. Because, yeah, I'm sure I don't have to say that, but don't do that because that could probably just give you a nice little virus, which you don't want. Need help urgently. My RB2 spot is open with either Chase Brown or Josh Jacobs. I could also... You have to sit one of Brown, Jacobs, and Nico? Okay, Nico, you're not sitting to begin with. Let's get that out of the way. Jacobs and Chase Brown are 2 of my top 7 running backs this week. I have Chase Brown at 6. I have Jacobs at 7, so I would slightly lean Chase Brown, both getting big-time workloads, slightly easier matchup against Denver than Minnesota, but you can't go wrong here. Like, congratulations. If you have to sit one of those guys on a week-to-week basis, that might just be one of the best fantasy teams I've ever seen in my life. On the sleeper out for this early game, don't see any points being added. Well, the game hasn't started yet, but yeah, no, I'm sure they'll add it. Yeah, no, if you wanted to go Cup there, I think it's close enough, but I personally would go Ridley. Okay, thanks for the help. Happy holidays. Yeah, I appreciate you, Evan. Appreciate you. Worthy or Shakir? I do have Shakir slightly higher, but like that is this close. Indianapolis, Vegas, or Denver defense. So let me see the matchup. So, I mean, you're not playing Denver against Cincinnati. That's just a no bueno. You're not Vegas against the Saints or Indianapolis against the Giants. Let me see their recent performances, both of them, respectively, because I think they're very comparable. On one hand, you have a Raiders defense. I believe that is completely banged up. Let me see. I got to go to Flock League because that's the only defense league that I have. All right, so we got the Raiders defense as of late. Okay, 10 points, 9 points, 8 points, all relatively decent matchups versus, I mean, we got Indianapolis. 6 points against Tennessee, 30 points allowed this week. I mean, I understand a lot of that was in garbage time, but even still, I would go the Raiders defense going up against Spencer Rattler and the Saints, who just got shut out on Monday Night Football. That's close, though. Dowdle, Shakir, or Madison at flex full PPR. It's really tough with Dowdle, given it is a extremely difficult matchup, but I feel the best about his workload, and I do think he should see some more receiving volume than he has as of these last few weeks. So I still have Rico Dowdle the highest, but I understand, given the matchup, if you wanted to go with the Shakir. Thanks, Aha. This one for my other championship. Yeah, good luck, brother. Good luck in both. Would you play Sharp or Walker if playing over Higgins, Tyreek, or Neighbors? I wouldn't play him over Higgins. I would play Charbonnet over Tyreek, assuming that Walker is out. I would. Tyreek scares me. The volume simply has not been there. He hasn't been efficient. Contested catches just simply haven't gone his way. If you had to make the choice of Tyreek versus Charbonnet with no walk in the backfield, I would go with Charbonnet. Bateman or Hollywood Brown, they are very close in my rankings in the early 40s. Let me take a look. So I have Bateman at 43 and Brown at 45. I do slightly prefer Bateman because I think you're getting a more consistent snap share there, whereas we still don't know the full projection because, for example, I mean, even DeAndre Hopkins has not been a full-time 75-plus snap share player, and he's been there for, 7 weeks. I really do feel like with the Chiefs, you're getting a full-on rotation at wide receiver. Merry Christmas. Merry Christmas to you too, Nick. Merry Christmas. Merry Christmas took the Ravens under 53.5. Yeah, I think that's a really nice late to make down there. Hopefully for my sake, though, it does go over considering Lamar Jackson, Rashad Bateman, Nico Collins, Isaiah Likely. I mean, Keaton Mitchell's irrelevant, but Keaton Mitchell, a lot of stock on that BBM team for this game. Kraft or Henry, I do have Kraft slightly higher. Let me take a look, by the way, if there's any more site questions. I'm going to refresh on the back end. Looks like we're all caught up here. I answered that one for JB, I believe. Yeah. 16 minutes ago. Maybe I didn't. My apologies, actually. Let me see. Not sure quarterback. Also Pollard, Ladd, if Love plays. So Charbonnet, yeah, you're going there. Going there. Assuming that there's no Walker, you go Charbonnet. If there is Walker, you go with Ladd. Yeah, you pretty much labeled that right there. Oh, you're asking Pollard or Ladd. I'm going Ladd over Pollard very comfortably this week. In fact, I have Tajay Spears ranked higher than him. Go with A-Rich. I like that. Yeah, I think the rest of the lineup is set perfectly. If there's a second flex, though, and you're deciding between Pollard and Ladd, I would go with Ladd there, JB. Appreciate you for submitting that through. And my apologies. Did not notice that a new one came in. If Njoku is out, Disley, Smart, or Hooper, I have Fant, but he'll have played by then. I think that's the best way to approach it. I would go Disley/Smart. If Disley plays, you play Disley. If Disley's out, you go with Stone Smart there, if Njoku is ruled out. Start Anthony Richardson over Darnold this week. They are back-to-back in my quarterback rankings. Love the matchup for Anthony Richardson personally, so I would go with him. Anthony Richardson, quarterback 7. Sam Darnold, quarterback 8 for me this week. And let's get this this bot out of here. Nope, none of that. We're not doing the Chiefs Steelers spam. It's championship, full PPR. Brown, Cook, Brown, bench, Pickens, Jennings, Downs, Dowdle. Any changes? I would leave your lineup as is, Stephen. I think you have the optimal lineup in as currently set. Merry Christmas. I put a team review in on the site. Okay, I can handle that tomorrow for you. We'll have some Christmas get together today. I can handle that tomorrow morning and get that for you. Appreciate that, though. Appreciate you for letting us know. All discussing, but if Hurts can't play, pick up May, Rodgers, or Penix. I'm definitely going with Drake May here. All day, Drake May. Drake May, you got the mobility, you got the arm talent. I got skipped right before you answered, Ethan. I did not even see that. Apologies. Here, I'll answer it now. Sharp or Brees, full PPR. I would go with Brees Hall there. Apologies there, Viper. I didn't actually notice that. Yeah, you already asked that, Ryan. Pick 2 half PPR. Oh, you added McMillan to this. My apologies. McMillan makes it interesting. I think I would go McMillan here in a full PPR. Because, again, I said Dowdle Shakir is very close to me, and I do think that's the case. McMillan I have as my wide receiver 31 this week. Dowdle I have as my RB 24. I feel comfortable about a lot of wide receivers this week. You're getting full PPR, 57-plus receiving yards each of his last 3 games, 4 touchdowns in his last 3, nearly 29 implied point offense there with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I think the answer is McMillan. I think he's the upside play here. Pick 2 half PPR, Amonra, Jennings, Pickens, Thielen, and McMillan. Thanks. I mean, Amonra is obviously making your lineup, so he's number 1 here. And as much as I do like McMillan, I do think you got to go with Juwan Jennings as the next option here, Medina. Favorite in my championship matchup at YWB head-to-head with Daniels. Oh, so you're picking a quarterback to go head-to-head. I would go with Anthony Richardson there, Vanilla. Sharper, Walker over Higgins. Yeah, I already answered that for you, Nick, but I would start him over Tyreek. You already asked that. Yeah, you already asked that. Just make sure you ask your questions once. Again, I am going in order. I don't want to see it spammed. I submitted a question on the site. Yeah, JB, I just saw that now. Appreciate you. Hopefully you got the update there. I did that at about 12:50 if you're watching the stream right now. Appreciate you, brother. Favorite of my match? Yeah, we already answered that. Again, please ask your questions once. It's a lot harder, especially when I'm on my own here. So make sure you ask it once so it doesn't cloud up the chat. I was already working on getting them out of here, freaking spammers. Yeah, appreciate you, J-Full. Jennings or DJ Moore, full PPR and Seahawks DST or Miami DST or Saints DST or Raiders DST. So I believe I have Juwan Jennings higher than DJ Moore, especially in a full PPR. The volume that you're getting there, very good matchup. Plus, I mean, a little tiebreaker. You got the Monday Night Miracle that you can be praying for. Obviously, that's not a big influence on the decision. I just do prefer Jennings to DJ Moore this week, especially knowing the matchup there. Seahawks DST or Miami DST. I think you got to go. Ooh, that's a tough one. Let me just check the matchups real quick. So Miami, you got going up against Cleveland. I think you got to go up Miami versus the Browns this week. It's a close one, though. Hey, Chad, what's the best defense this week for the championship? Like out of all the defenses available or out of like defenses that could be available on your wire? was like the number one defense overall this week. I mean, the Eagles going up against the Cowboys, like their defensive line should be able to take care of us. I like the Chargers against the Patriots, although I would probably fade that because of Drake May. Bills against the Jets, good show. Yeah, those would probably be the top options. Colts versus Giants, obviously a big one as well. Raiders versus Saints. JSN or BTJ at the flex. Also, should I bench AJ Brown, assuming Hurts and Pickett are ruled out? So the fact that you have to make a lineup decision on these guys. I have Brian Thomas Jr. as my wide receiver 7 this week. I have AJ Brown as my wide receiver 8 this week. I have Jackson Smith and Jigba as my wide receiver 9 this week. Is there any chance you can get all 3 of them in your lineup? If not, the answer would be JSN, who I have at 9 as being the worst option here, but I am envious of that decision. Star 3, Nico, JSN, BTJ, London. We are going with the first 3 there, as much as I like London. Have the rest of those guys in my top 10. Made the championship with Isaac Guerrero, Worthy, and Dowdle in the flex. Who do I play? This is tough because obviously Guerrero plays on Monday Night Football. Do you have a pivot option for Isaac Guerrero is what I would ask, because I would prefer to play Guerrero if you have a pivot. If you don't have a pivot, I think I would just lean Worthy, but let me know. Let me know if you have a pivot there. Mixon or Cook this week. I have Cook 1 spot higher than Mixon, 14 versus 15. Russ or Kyler, B-Rob or Shakir as my flex. I would go with Kyler Murray, and I would go with Brian Robinson there, Brian. Sticking with Cup. It's for the last flex spot with AJ Brown. Yeah, no, they're close enough. If you want to trust Cup, I'm perfectly fine with you doing that. Again, he is very volatile, but I mean, at the end of the day, man, trust your gut. That is the number one thing. We are in championship week. Your gut got you to where you are now. Obviously, again, we'll help you as much as we can. We'll help you make those tight decisions, but if you disagree with something that we even say, trust your gut. Because at the end of the day, I would rather go down swinging with something that I believed in versus having the opportunity to, pin it on somebody else, right? If you believe in something and it ends up being the right decision, you give yourself credit. If you make a decision and it ends up being the wrong decision, you understand that you were the one that ultimately made that decision. So again, I will do what I can. I will try to make those decisions a lot easier for you guys. But at the end of the day, you're the one clicking that submit on that lineup button. So that's my thoughts on that. Final flex spot, Neighbors, Hall, or Wilson, or MHJ. Neighbors versus Hall is so crazy. Neighbors at 16 this week at wide receiver. I have Hall at RB 13. I would go with Breece Hall, but man, that's a good spot to be in. Keenan Allen or Zay Flowers. I have Keenan Allen slightly higher, but we're talking 18 versus 21, I believe, this week. So, yeah, 18 for Allen, 21 for Zay Flowers. So I would go with Keenan Allen slightly, assuming that's a full PPR. Half PPR, maybe you lean Zay. Merry Christmas, everyone. Thanks for jumping on here anytime. Thought I'd give you guys, a good 30 minutes, answer those last second start sits, get through some of those questions on the site as well. It was an early year. Oh, okay, yeah. Merry Christmas. I'll enjoy a nice day before. Yes, sir. Appreciate that, brother. Appreciate that. Your boy's been sober for about 16 days now. So once I figure out the hernia issue, obviously, I'll probably celebrate with one. But until then, I just don't want to upset the bloodstream there for the healing process. So I've had 1 shot in the last 16 days, and I've had nothing to smoke. So, and the 1 shot was because it was my buddy's 24th birthday. So I promised him. T. Higgins versus Denver, another option. I would go with T. Higgins there for me, Mike. It does sound like he's going to be playing. He's been playing through those issues for the last few weeks. Appreciate you anytime there, JB. Anytime. Merry Christmas, guys. Merry Christmas, Brock. Where do they move the super chat button? So actually, all of our questions now actually go over to our site over on Flock Fantasy. It is pinned in the description, flockfantasy.com, purchase/FSC, I believe is the exact link, but you will be able to see it in the description. So hopefully that helps you. It made a lot more sense to really focus that onto the site because YouTube was taking a heavy cut off of our supers. So just made sense to eliminate them altogether. My bad. I'm watching an old game against the Ravens in Texas. You're killing me, Corey. You're killing me. I love you, brother. Chat, Fairbairn or what? I think that's fair. I don't know what Fairbanks and Richard is, but I'll go with Fairbairn if that's Fairbairn. I would go with Mahomes still, Mike. I wouldn't play it too cute. Yeah, Super Chats are gone. Atomic Super Chats are gone. Conquo or Henry at tight end. Give me Chig there. Russ or Penix. Give me, I believe I have Penix higher. Yeah, let me see how many I can get to. If you guys have any more, Merry Christmas. Any early takes for next season for those that are already eliminated? My early take is if CeeDee Lamb's valued anywhere past the 105 in drafts, he's the biggest steal of your 2025 drafts. But I think that's pretty self-explanatory. The guy's going to be pacing for over 1,300 yards and 7 touchdowns this year, and he hasn't had Dak Prescott for an entire half year. He's been averaging 19 PPR points per game about since the bye week. So people are going to, it's the Cowboys, it's not, people are going to fade him down to 106, 107. I'm telling you right now, he's going to be the biggest steal in drafts. Like he's still the same profile that I think was a consensus top 2 or 3 overall pick this past year. Maybe you move obviously Chase over him. Him versus Jefferson, I think, is a toss-up. If you want to take a running back, I think that's fine. But people that are just writing off CeeDee Lamb, don't be doing that. Full PPR, Garendo or Ford. I have Ford a little bit higher there. Play Mahomes or wait for Hurts. Who's your pivot option if you wait for Hurts? If you have a solid pivot option, I'm cool with doing that because he is a big game changer. But if you don't have a solid pivot, you go with Mahomes. And hopefully you're able to get that in because it is 101. So maybe you didn't. But yeah, like I'm looking through. I do not have a pivot waivers or damn Miami. Congrats. Yeah, appreciate that. If you don't have a pivot, then do what you got to do. You can't risk it. Danny the man, appreciate you, Tom. Sorry, I'm just reading through comments, because obviously, again, like a lot of you guys, it is over 102 right now. So I'll just hold on. My last question. I have Terry. Yeah. Okay. So where do we leave off here? Full PPR. What do you think about starting James Cook over Brian Robinson? I have James Cook rated higher this week there, JC. ARC, give me AR. J Metal, I have some trades for you. Let's go. Thanks for the advice. Anytime there, Ryan. Anytime. Happy holidays for you as well. Richardson there. Hopefully you're able to get that off. I agree with this as well, Brock. McMillan, Hollywood, or Metcalf. Hopefully you got, I think I have Metcalf one spot higher than McMillan, but I will know for certain on McMillan versus Metcalf by the time I record that wide receiver rankings video for you. Although actually I'll know by tomorrow because they play it tomorrow, but I am bouncing back and forth between those guys that are literally back to back for me. I do have Metcalf slightly higher for the time being. I think the tiebreaker is, Metcalf. He's got that big play upside. That's pretty much where I'm at with it, although McMillan's been more involved. Anyway, yeah, I agree with that, Brock. A lot of these unders. Yeah, no, that's definitely fair. I'm just praying for my BBM's sake that we do have a little bit of an over shootout. Yeah, hopefully, Nate, hopefully I can take you down and make up for last year. It still bites me that I haven't won a championship in that league, but hey, I mean, back-to-back championship games for both of us. Who would have thought? All of us would have thought, I do think. Regardless, so good luck, brother. It's going to be a battle. Just hoping that Herbert and Allen are able to stay up this year so I have 2 quarterbacks in the game. Yes, sir. Gucci guys. Chuba, flex, bench. Do I bench Chuba? No, you run with Chuba there all there. You run with Chuba. Anytime there, Mike. Gotcha. Merry Christmas, Big Dog. Merry Christmas to you as well, Jason. Miami, they're going against the Browns. Yep. But those are Zay Flowers and Worthy start today, or should I go McMillan? I would have said McMillan over Worthy and Zay Flowers over both. So hopefully you're able to get that done. Again, my apologies. It's a few minutes after. Was going through as fast as I could, but yeah. London or McMillan? I would go with Drake London. And with that being said, hopefully you guys enjoyed. Went live for about a half an hour. Hopefully you got those lineup decisions in. Again, let me just quickly refresh to see. Yep, no, we're all caught up on the site as well. And yeah, with that being said, peace out. We will see you guys tomorrow prior to the Seahawks-Bears Thursday night kickoff. Just wanted to give you guys that little extra for today.